Our story starts in ancient Mesopotamia, over 3,000 years before Christ. Early civilizations traded in whatever they could: grain, cattle, silver, shells, but every society eventually turned to gold. Why? Because gold had something unique. It was beautiful, durable, and, crucially, it couldn't be faked or forged easily. It didn't corrode like copper or tarnish like silver. It was easy to divide, easy to carry, and could be melted into coins or ornaments without losing any of its luster. To early humans, gold didn't just represent value, it represented eternity. Around 600 BC, in what's now modern-day Turkey, the Lydians struck the first gold coins. Stamped with the king's mark, these coins had guaranteed weight and purity, making trade simple, fast, and trusted. This innovation spread like wildfire. The Greeks, the Persians, the Romans, every major civilization adopted gold as the backbone of their economies. For the Romans, gold wasn't just currency, it was propaganda. Their coins bore the faces of emperors, reminding every citizen that power and wealth flowed from the state itself. Fast forward to the age of exploration. European empires crossed oceans chasing gold. Spain looted entire civilizations in the Americas. Britain built trade routes across the world. Gold wasn't just a metal anymore, it was the scoreboard of empire. And when nations began printing paper money centuries later, they backed every note with gold reserves. A promise printed right on the bill, redeemable in gold. That promise was the birth of the gold standard, a system where every dollar, pound, or franc could, in theory, be exchanged for real gold held in a vault. The gold standard worked because it limited how much money governments could create. If you only had so much gold, you could only issue so much currency. This made global trade stable. Currencies had fixed exchange rates because they were all tied to gold. But it also meant that whenever gold ran short, economies stalled. The system had beauty and fragility. When World War I erupted, countries needed more money to fund the war. So they printed paper, far more than their gold reserves could back. By the 1930s, the gold standard was cracking under the weight of modern finance. After World War II, the US held most of the world's gold reserves, and the dollar became the anchor for global trade. Every other currency was pegged to the dollar, and the dollar was pegged to gold, at $35 an ounce. But by the late 1960s, America's spending on war and welfare outpaced its gold supply. Foreign nations began demanding gold for their dollars, and the US realized it couldn't keep up. So in 1971, President Richard Nixon made a fateful announcement. The US would no longer convert dollars into gold. The gold standard was dead, and money was now backed only by trust. Today, gold no longer defines our currencies, but it still defines our sense of value. When economies crash or inflation surges, people instinctively rush back to it. Because deep down, we still believe what our ancestors believed, that gold, unchanging, untarnished, and eternal, is the closest thing we have to real, lasting wealth.